When it comes to talking politics, it's often a challenge to accept the other side. As it turns out, your brain may actually be to blame. KCAL9's Jennifer Kastner went to USC, where scientists are studying how politics affect your mind.
I think I'm pretty open-minded.
I think that I've become more open.
I feel like most people would say they are, and most people aren't that way.
And that couldn't have been more apparent than during this bitterly hostile, sometimes violent election season. It was a nation politically divided, but united in overwhelming emotions.
Great timing for a study like this.
Max Henning is a research participant at the University of Southern California's Brain and Creativity Institute. He's going into an MRI machine so professors can study how his brain changes when his political beliefs are challenged.
Okay, Max, we're ready to get started.
Professor Jonas Kaplan began his research a few years ago, not knowing just how tense the political climate would become.
I don't think we could have predicted how much these issues would be on everybody's mind when we finished the study several years later.
He scanned the minds of 40 liberal participants, watching their brain chemistry as his team tried to sway their political beliefs. The parts of the brain that were triggered controlled deep, emotional thoughts about personal identity.
When people activate these emotional structures of the brain more, when they're being challenged, they're less likely to change their minds.
Their brains were emotionally threatened and went into defense mode, shutting down any willingness to accept counter-arguments.
People don't often realize how automatic it can be to push back on information that you disagree with, even if you identify as a person that is open to new ideas.
So if we're biologically wired to block opposing political views, is there any prospect for a peaceful future? Kaplan says a few brains did show a very slight ability to change.
Maybe that is a sign of hope, a crack in the door there a little bit. But I do think that it's very difficult for us to change our minds about these things that are so important to us and that define us.
Researchers here are now looking at doing a follow-up study on the body's physiological responses when political beliefs are challenged. Responses like heart rate and breathing. They'll also study the brains of conservatives to see if they too stand firm in their convictions. Jennifer Kastner, KCAL9 News.